What's up, YouTube? Jay Lee here again. I have finally got a new phone, so it looks like I might be doing some more of these videos here for you guys. I know some people were basically hitting me up and saying, "Hey, how come you haven't done videos in a while? It's been months." So basically, what happened was my phone. Uh, yeah, YouTube wanted to. I had an old phone that I was recording on from like 1900 from like 2015 or something, and I don't even know if it was that old. It just wasn't that good, and so basically YouTube was like doing some updates or something, and it wouldn't update because the phone was literally just out of date. So I had a friend give me an iPhone 7, which is a pretty nice phone. So pretty happy about that. So it looks like I'll be doing some more videos for you guys. Definitely a lot to talk about. In the last, you know, 4 or 5 months since I've actually made consistent videos. Um, few things. Um, the whole Kanye thing basically is crazy. There's a lot going on in the world, man. With Ukraine and then with the coronavirus and stuff like that. A lot of crazy stuff, but also, God is the ruler, and I just, always got to give praise to God because he's the big man upstairs. He's the guy who really has everything under control. Down here, a lot of what we can do is just speculate and talk crap. Of course, we can pray and we can, represent God here on earth. But, this channel is mostly just for me talking crap, right? So let me talk some crap if you guys got the time. But anyway, I do apologize for the long layoff, and appreciate your guys' support and all that. For the little viewers that I do have, you guys find me interesting, and that's cool. I've used this channel to really get a lot off my chest, speak a lot about the things that are wrong, particularly between, interpersonal relationships with men and women, relationships in general, female nature, the red pill, etc. Right? So that's my channel, right? And let's continue to talk in that vein, and hopefully I can interject maybe some godly wisdom if I could, because those who seek the red pill also are seekers of the truth, and ultimately my conclusion to life on earth, the matrix, leaving the matrix, men in the matrix, men leaving the matrix, taking the red pill, leaving the matrix, right? Ultimately, in my view, that should be intertwined with the concept of freedom, and ultimately the freest a person can be is when he's closer to God, because there's God and then there's the devil, and what the devil wants to do is enslave people on this earth, and a lot of the reason why he uses war. I was recently reading something about that in a spiritual book, where they were talking about the reason why wars happen is because the devil wants to harm particularly Christians, because he can't enslave Christians. They've left the matrix, so to speak. So God wants to set up his kingdom, and Satan wants to thwart that, so he uses war to attack that, and it particularly attack believers who are God's representative on earth. That's pretty deep, I know, but this channel is about the red pill, and the red pill is simply the truth. So I feel I have to be honest with regards to the truth, and that's my truth. So with that said, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of behavior going on just in the red pill manosphere. I was recently watching Undead Chronic, have an interview or a live session with John Anthony Lifestyle. I've talked a lot about John Anthony Lifestyle on my channel. I think my last video I was talking about how he was the phenomenon that is John Anthony Lifestyle is so interesting, because actually, guys who are phony and fake are seeming to have a time in these days, these days that we're in now, and fake it till you make it kind of thing. And it's kind of always been like that in a way, but also, as red pill adherents, we want the truth, we want the real genuine article, and I don't believe John Anthony lifestyle is that, and it's pretty brutal. If you go to Undead Chronic's page, I followed Undead Chronic for a few years. I think that I've got my opinions on a lot of people in the manosphere. I've taken apart. Well, I can't say I've taken apart, but I've taken shots, I should say, at Donovan Sharp, some of his content where he talks about ruling women and all this kind of stuff. I've taken shots at Fresh and Fit when they say that men, it's not cheating if a man cheats. I don't agree with that. I've taken some shots at Rollo Tomasi in the fact that what did he do? I forget what I had a problem with him. I think I had a problem with him mixing up Pua and Red Pill, and there was some inconsistencies in what he was saying at one point. Oh, definitely like a year or two ago, probably 2 years now, with the pandemic, that I was taking some shots at Rollo Tomasi. But I say that to say that these guys are guys that I do follow: Rollo Tomasi, Donovan Sharp, Undead Chronic, Fresh and Fit to some small degree, even though their show is pretty much a circus where they just have these worthless women on their show and showcase these worthless women, and they sleep with these women to even get them on the show, which is pretty disgusting and reprehensible. I'm obviously not the moral archetype, but I can at least point out inconsistencies in some people's arguments, and there's a lot of inconsistencies in these red pill guys. However, with that said, I also do follow these guys to some smaller extent, each one of them. I've seen some fantastic shows that Donovan Sharp has put on. I've totally agreed with a lot of what Rollo Tomasi has said, and you got to give the guy credit for writing The Rational Male, which is arguably one of the best books on the red pill. It's really one of the best books on human nature in general, for that matter. There's a lot of truth in that, and I'm an adherent to the truth in general, right? Ultimately, I believe that the Bible is the ultimate truth. And I think it was even Undead Chronic, I think, on his channel, I was looking, I think yesterday, he had and I'm definitely going to go check this video out. I didn't watch it yet, but he had a video uploaded about, I'm pretty sure it was Undead Chronic. He had a video uploaded about, sorry, I have a little cold, I'm sniffing. He had a video uploaded about red pill Bible verses, I believe, which is very interesting. And I've been reading the Bible my whole life. I've been reading it intensively for about 20 years now. And yes, I would concur. There are lots and lots of red pill Bible verses, but I wouldn't also say that the Bible is misogynistic. And it's a fine line between what is misogynistic and what's not misogynistic. And I've teeter-tottered in the past on the line, where the line is drawn on that. But I don't want to go into that too much. But I did want to maybe talk a little crap about Undead Chronic and some inconsistencies. But I will give him kudos and claps for his expose, or whatever you want to call it, dissection surgery, demolishing of our friend, your friend and mine, John Anthony lifestyle, that good old boy, right? Total fraud, and I've said this many times. Low energy guy who is actually, ironically, fantastically, as I said on one of my old videos, he's literally faking it till he makes it. He's probably raking in a lot of money, a lot of simp bucks, because he gets paid, I guess, $2,500 an hour to talk to these guys, which is insane, absolutely insane. It's what's funding his little Brazilian vacation. what's funding his little escorts in Brazil, and it's just absolutely insane. I mean, the world's bananas. The world is absolutely bananas in these last days. So I gotta stand up and give Undead Chronic kudos for that. He did a great job. I laughed. It was hilarious. It was fantastic. Great job, Undead Chronic. I mean, no one could do that but you. And I think that a lot of who John Anthony lifestyle was exposed, and hopefully that hurts his business, because he is a fraud taking money from stupid men, and I guess these stupid men need to learn a lesson. And anyway, it's pretty sad, and I don't want to go too deep down that rabbit hole of Pua. That's not really what I want to do here in this video, but I just got to give Undead Chronic kudos. With that said, I do have to call out some inconsistencies and hypocrisies in Undead Chronic, and to a good extent, men in today's age are hypocritical. We are, and I don't mean to say that in a demeaning way or to put men down. I mean to say that in the sense that it is hard not to be hypocritical, because it's so easy to sin. It's so easy to please our lust. It's so easy in these days. The devil has made it easy for us to have instant gratification, instant pleasure, instant sin through pornography, or through going out and hooking up, or through this or that TV or movies. Or these are the last days, I believe, and because of that, everything has been what's the word I'm looking for? Corporatized to an apex, if that makes sense. Everything has been crystallized into a instant hit, right? An instant powder, if you will, of sin, an instant sugar high. you just add water. It's that easy in our society to just fall off the right road, fall off the right track. So I can see very easily inconsistencies in someone like Undead Chronic, and believe me, I don't mean to take him down or demean him, because I believe in a sense, we're all fighting the same battle. I like Hammerhand a lot. He was talking a lot with Undead Chronic on this issue, and they were live screening back and forth. And I believe just his general scope and his macro viewpoint of the whole situation is very on point. Hammerhand. He understands that we are you can just tell by listening to him. He understands that our backs are against the wall, as men, because this is what women have done to us with their freedom. And even in a sense, even in a weird, sardonic, ironic way, the women aren't even to blame in a way, because if you think about it, they have access to anything and everything they want simply by flaunting sex. Now, and I've gone through this many times in my channel, this concept of how much responsibility and what kind of responsibility do women hold in our society. And I put a lot of blame on them for shirking off the responsibility, but also, given temptation and given how easy it is to be tempted, and even the Bible talks about that, how easy it is to be tempted, how easy it is to fall off the right track. In a way, you have to to some degree, give them some credit. I don't know if I should say credit, but give them some leeway in that, hey man, there's a lot of temptation, and it's easy to just, oh, you know what, I'll just do this, or I'll just take that, or I'll just do that, or I'll just manipulate this or that. It's very easy to do that, and you gotta look at the devil and say, hey, this whole world is corrupt because of him, and people are sinning and going off on these what's the word? These roads. They're going off on these roads that are away from tradition, away from morals, away from God, ultimately. And you have to see the forest through the trees and look through the smoke screen, say, hey, the devil's doing this, right? And, I teeter-totter on how much responsibility I put on women's shoulders, and they should receive a lot of responsibility, because ultimately, they're the ones who do the choosing. They're the ones who have the free access to the lust and the immorality and that whole, really a lot of it's ego. I was thinking about this the other day, how much it's ego. It's just their ego. They really believe that they're God's gift, and in a way they should be to one man. But because women think, it's weird because it's like, how would you feel if every time you walked outside, the opposite sex wants to sleep with you, and they give you bedroom eyes everywhere you go? How would you feel? It's a tough one, man. It really is. It really is a tough one. So, I'm not gonna say one way or the other that, most of my channel I just call a spade, right? I just try to talk about the truth. Ultimately, yes, our responsibility lies on us, but because there's so much temptation in this world, it's easy to just be like, all right, well, let me just go down that other road. Let me just do this. Let me just do that, and because it feels good, because there's pleasure, and it's, I'm tired of being sad. I'm tired of being lonely, so I'm just going to go do this, or all these reasons that women do what they do. But at the same time, we have to call a spade and be like, well, yeah, this is selfish, this is narcissistic, this is evil, this is damaging, and that's what the red pill does, right? That's what we do in the red pill. So one of the things I wanted to critique Undead Chronic about, and I'm just doing this lightly, I'm not attacking him because I like Undead Chronic a lot. I've always liked him because he speaks the truth. But he's calling John Anthony a hypocrite, and John Anthony is absolutely a hypocrite, and he really is a very immoral man. Whether or not his lay count is real, whether or not he's a fraud, let's just say hypothetically it is, which I liked. One thing I liked about his discourse with John Anthony was he didn't try to attack that. He went from a different angle, and I thought it was very professional, and it was very surgical. He went from a different angle, and he went from the aspect of, okay, let's assume that your lay count is real. Let's assume that it's true. You have a 1,500 lay count. You spin plates. You have a new woman every week. Okay, let's say that's real, right? Which is a fantastic lie, by the way. Great, fantastic lie, which he has used Hitler's motto, which is to tell a big lie and then maintain it, and then eventually people will believe it. And he's done that successfully, by the way. His marketing is on point, John Anthony. But let's assume that it was real, that it is 1,500 lay count, that he does have spinning plates. Well, that's very immoral, right? And the guy admitted to having chlamydia 4 times on the live stream, which by the way, you can go over to Undead Chronic's channel and view. You can watch the whole live stream. He admitted to having chlamydia 4 times. So he's literally admitting to being such a degenerate, such an immoral person. My angle was that he's a fraud, but let's just say it was real. Well, he's totally a degenerate, and he uses women. And then he tried to act like, oh, well, you must be a misogynist if you think that women, you must hate women. You must have a problem with women if you think that, a man can't, a woman can't sleep around and still be respected, which is Chronic's whole stance, which most of us agree with, right? Most of us in the red pill community, we agree with that, and really deep down, most men think that too. Whether you're red pill, PUA, Democrat, Republican, whatever you are, deep down as men, we don't like sluts. We like them maybe to sleep around, and women are always saying, oh, that's hypocritical of you to sleep with them but not respect them, and kind of, yeah, a little bit, but also again we go back to that analogy of the key. The key that opens all locks is a master key. A lock that can be opened by any key is a shitty lock. It really is that true, because women are the gatekeepers of sex. Bottom line, women are the gatekeepers of sex, and they're supposed to be pure because it's easy for them to get it. That's just what it is. So John Anthony's whole argument is, oh, you must not respect women if you think that if they sleep around they're low value and worthless. Well, yeah, no, that we don't respect them, and we don't think they're high value if they sleep around, and we do think they're worthless. Yes, that's a red pill, but it's really just a man thing in general. So that was his point, but he tried to say that Chronic was uh, he tried to say that Chronic was a misogynist for that, but yet the guy is, having rotation. So he's not respecting women either. He's just using them as objects for sex. And he basically admitted that. It's one of the stupidest things he could do is try to debate with people who know better. Chronic is a gangster. You don't step in a ring with a gangster and think you're not gonna get taken apart. No, I give Chronic full credit for that. He dissected him, and that was one of the things that came out was that John Anthony claims he respects women, but also he's using them for sex. He's discarding them, right? He's using them as total objects, like their toilet paper, using them, wiping his genitals on them, and then throwing the toilet paper away. It's disgusting, right? Okay, with that said, I have to call out Undead Chronic a little bit in the sense that he's like, no, I want a family, and that's what my whole thing is. I want the traditional family, but I'm mad because women are not good enough for that. Women are too loose, and women are initiating divorce, and women are, which is all true about modern women in our society. That's very true. Yes, we got a super big problem here with these women. Yes, but in the same breath, Chronic says he'll drop his zinc in them. Chronic says he'll sleep with them. Excuse me. Chronic says he'll sleep with them and just use them for sex in the same breath. Well, that's inconsistent. That's hypocritical, sorry to say. So, which is, if as long as you're aware of that, fine, but it's weird to say like, oh, I want this virgin, I want a woman who's a virgin, which by the way, I've never necessarily maintained that she has to be a virgin, but I would say under 3 to 5 guys that she's been with, because things happen. I know a lot of girls, they think they're in love when they're young and they date a guy, and sex just happens, man. So I get it. 3 to 5, you have a couple boyfriends, you sleep with them, you think they're going to be the one, and they're not. That's understandable. But what I can't abide by is the hoe phase. You can't go through a hoe phase and then come back around and be like, yeah, I want love. First of all, it changes your character. You're too jaded. Even though I think that pair bonding is possible after the hoe phase, I think that it's not the same as it would have been. There really is such a thing as purity in a marriage and a love relationship, and a lot of that purity really is founded upon each partner not being loose in their character. And what happens is when you sleep around, it does ruin your character. It does make you loose, being promiscuous, particularly for women, because women are emotionally attached to sex, and I've maintained this on my channel since day one, right? So when that happens, hey man, you're ruining your character. You're actually, and I was thinking about this the other day too, is that somebody said that what's the big deal about sleeping around before you meet the one of the love of your life? What's the big deal about it? Like it's just sex. And like someone said that the reason why you don't cheat on your partner is because in a way you're theirs and they're yours, right? You're theirs and they're yours, and in a way you kind of own each other, and in a way you kind of owe it to each other to be monogamous. Well, you're really doing your future partner a disservice if you're sleeping around before you meet them, because you're sharing their goods with you're sharing your goods with other people. You're sharing their goods with other people. Even in the Bible it says that the body of the wife does not belong to the wife, it belongs to the husband. The body of the husband does not belong to the husband, it belongs to the wife. So there's equality there, meaning each member, the husband and the wife, own each other's body, in the sense that, yeah, that's for you only, right? That's not for anyone else in the world, that's for you only. So you're really not necessarily doing as much of a disservice to yourself when you sleep around as you are doing a disservice to your future spouse, whether you're a man or a woman. And I got to call that out in general. Yes, it's true that a master key that opens all the locks is a great key. That's true. However, I don't necessarily believe, like Fresh and Fit and Undead Chronic apparently do, that a man can just indiscriminately sleep around with whomever he wants, and that's okay either. Because not only is it hypocritical, it sets a bad moral standard, because women look at that and they're like, oh, well, men are doing it, I can do it too. And they use it as an excuse to do it themselves. Oh, well, you guys are hypocrites. And to some extent, they're right. Even though it's not the same, and I've maintained that on my channel, because, again, a man can't just go out and sleep with 20 women, walk up to 20 women and sleep with all of them. He might get a number from one of them if he's lucky, and she'll probably flake. That's the reality that men live with. Whereas a woman goes up to 20 men, she can sleep with all 20. That's the difference. There's a difference in our biology. There's a difference in how we choose. There's a difference in our mate selection, in the way, bottom line, women do not allow most men to sleep with them. And you could call that hypergamy, whatever you want to call it, right? That's just a fact. So it's not the same. However, that doesn't mean men don't have a responsibility. That doesn't mean men should, I can just go sleep around whenever I want. I don't respect women because they're all losing. Yeah, but what are you? Are you a good example of that? Are you pure as a man? How can we as men collective sit around and say, oh yeah, we want our women to be pure, and yet we ourselves are not pure? That's hypocritical at the least. That's definitely even fraudulent, in a way, right? We're sitting here like, we want women to be pure, and yet we're talking about pumping and dumping. So I have that critique with Undead Chronic. But in general, I like Undead Chronic. I agree with most of what he says. He has a very negative take, a very negative angle, very negative slant on modern women. That is, it's not something that I like listening to him all day, every day, because it can be depressing when you're just constantly, ragging on women and stuff. And I think there's a necessity for that, because we as a society, as men in our society, have no outlet. We have no voice in our society. So we need people like Undead Chronic and Rollo Tomasi and Hammerhand and Sandman and Tom Likas. All these guys we need to step up and tell the real truth. But I don't like there's some aspects there's just a lot of connotations that come along with that, such as maybe implied violence or vitriol, bitterness, anger, right? These things are not a good mix with the red pill. Particularly, it's not a good look, because the eyes aren't, the eyes of the world, at least the feminist world, have been upon us, not only in the media, but just on social media in general, looking at us as if, what are you guys doing? You're just talking crap about women. And it's like, to a certain extent, I've always marketed my channel as the truth. I'm not necessarily trying to bash per se. That's not what I'm trying to do. And I think that one thing Chronic does, and to some extent I've heard Hammerhand do this, the other guys don't do it a whole lot. They're more focused on the truth, which is good. We need to stay objective in the truth. If we're too bashy, then it can be a problem. But one thing I've tried to do on my channel is just maintain what I'm saying is just the objective truth. This is just the truth of behavior, So with that said, that's kind of my critique of Undead Chronic. But I do give him kudos and hats off for John Anthony, because that guy needs to be exposed. He's just been a terror and just kind of a thorn in the side of, the manosphere. And he's been trying to attack Rollo, and he's been trying to attack Fresh and Fit. He tries to attack everyone, and his marketing means and methods, I believe are successful. We're talking about him, right? And he's making money, so he's successful, but he's doing it in a completely fraudulent way and dishonest way, and just a selfish person, and it's pretty sad that guys will pay that guy, particularly when pick up information, PUA game stuff is literally free. You can just look it up. It's free. You don't need to buy a course. That information is out there on the YouTube videos. All the information is out there on, there's blogs and websites. There's a million of them. You don't need John Anthony. You don't need his course. In fact, I've looked at one of his courses. I actually own one of his courses. I didn't pay for it. Somebody let me have it, but it's called Occam's Razor. And I looked at it and I'm like, this guy doesn't even have game. Like his game is basic. And he lies to everyone and says, I really don't think the guy can pull a girl. I think he's just a complete fraud. I think he pays for escorts. I've seen his infield videos, his cold approach videos. He's not good. It's not terrible. He's not horrible. He's just basic. He knows how to go up, open a girl, chat her up, and get a number. That's not hard. What's hard is that attraction part. He doesn't create that. He's not, maybe he's had some surgery or something because he's been looking better physically. He's been in the gym or whatever, quit alcohol and stuff. But during the time that he made those, Occam's Razor or whatever, he claimed to have this 1,000 lay count, or around that time. Now it's 1,500, right? He was not a very good looking guy, and his game was not spectacular. It was super basic. If you go out and game, you can easily talk to a girl and get her number. That's not hard. Just going up and like, hey, how you doing? My name's Jay. Saw you and I thought you were attractive. And what you doing? Do you live around here? Oh, cool. You have a boyfriend? Oh, cool. Can I get your number? Do you want to go out sometime? That's basic. That's not hard. But 90% of the time when you do that, the girls don't respond to you when you text them or call them. Because they're not attracted to you. They're not interested in you, because even girls are like, oh, this basic guy coming up to me with the basic game. Hi, how you doing? Can I get your number? Like, that's basic. Right? So John Anthony's not teaching anything. He's teaching the basics, which he learned from RSD, and RSD learned from their internet talk boards, and and they just encapsulated it into a program, and they sell the program. That's all it is. Game is game, right? There's some tricks and there's some things that you can learn for sure, but game is game. So it's all basic, and you can find it online. You don't need to pay this guy thousands of dollars. He's a fraud. He's just a good marketer, and he's marketing to simps, and he knows how to do it. And I applaud that. I applaud his skill as a marketer. Right. But anyway, so let's move on from that. So that's Undead Chronic. That's John Anthony. That's been going on, something that I follow, something that needs to, in a way, be talked about, because there's a lot to it. But also, we got this Ukraine stuff, and we got Kanye, right? I wanted to make a video about Kanye recently, but I didn't have my phone. So I wanted to talk about Kanye and what he's doing with Kim, and really there's not a lot to talk about. So I'm going to make this brief, because Kanye is a man who has manic depression, which is bipolar, and that causes you to have outbursts. It causes you to do erratic, strange behavior. It causes you to even, to some extent, be obsessive and compulsive, I believe. I believe that's attached to it. And we see these signs in Kanye. We see these behaviors in Kanye with regards to Kim. He has obsessive behavior over her. He's compulsive, even threats of violence against Pete Davidson. I get it. That's his baby's mom. He's got children with her whom he loves, or whatever. But you got to understand, Kanye, that Kim was for the streets before you met her. And I said this since day one, when he first married her, that she was for the streets. Okay? She's a, HEAUX, right? Put those letters together. What is that? She's a video girl. That's how she started her career with Ray J. Come on, man. You don't want to wife that up. These girls, she's a Jezebel. She's a modern Jezebel. She's got the Jezebel spirit, man. It's reeking out of her pores. Now, Kanye clearly is not a red pill guy. He thinks he's a genius. He's an egomaniac. He's a narcissistic, just like Donald Trump, right? In fact, he met with Donald Trump. He was friends with Donald Trump. Makes sense. Birds of a feather flock together. Makes sense. It definitely makes sense. And I don't want to talk too bad about Kanye and bash him. The brother's a Christian, I guess, put on a lot of shows with Christians, hung out with Justin Bieber, who's a Christian, I guess. That's nice, man. And Christ is real. It's lovely. The Bible's real. It's good to worship. As human beings, we are centered and created to contain God, to express God, to take God in through the Bible. We have a longing in our heart. Pascal called it the hole in every man's heart. He called it the God-shaped hole in every man's heart, to seek God, that wants to be contained with God, wants to be filled up with God. And no, we can't. These things of the world don't fill us. The achievements, the materialism, the money, the success, the fame, the status, it doesn't fill us. So what you see with Kanye is you see a man who's a billionaire, I think now. Right? He's a billionaire? And some people say Kim helped him out to be a billionaire. Whatever. He's a billionaire, and he's not satisfied because he doesn't really have love. We all want love, and what is love? God is love, right? So you got a man out here who claims to love God, claims to go to church, claims to have his own church, and praising God and all this weird stuff, which really is just soulical, from his soul, not from his spirit. John 4:24 says, God is spirit. He who worships God must worship in spirit and truthfulness. So what is real worship? Real worship is in the spirit. John 4:24, go read it. Man has a spirit. Job 32:8. There is a spirit in man. Okay? Paul said, I forget the book and verse, but he said, may your body, spirit, and soul be sanctified. That means man is tripartite. That verse, you can Google it. Man is tripartite. He has a body, he has a soul, and he has a spirit. Man has a spirit. So Kanye's out here doing his whoop-de-whoop hip-hop shows. That's not your spirit. That's your soul. Which is one of my main problems with mainstream Christianity, is they do not worship God in the spirit. They use their soul to have these rock concerts or whatever, right? So, all right, that's a critique against Kanye. But bottom line, from the red pill perspective, right? Come on, man. Kim's a landmine. She's a grenade, and not in the sense, not in the Jersey Shore sense that she's ugly or whatever, right? She's a grenade in the sense that she's for the streets. She's got the Jezebel spirit. How did she get her start? Right? She's a modern 304. Come on, she's a modern 304. She always has been. Right? These women are jaded. They're twisted. They don't know what they want. And because they sleep around, it makes them more jaded and twisted. These women are not godly. A Christian man needs a Christian woman. A Christian man needs a Christian woman. Kanye needs a Christian woman. He does not need a 304. He does not need a club dweller. Kim Kardashian's a club dweller. It's how she started. It's what you do what you want to do. Who you really are is probably what you're doing when you're 20. I hate to say that because a lot of people be like, oh no, I change. Yes, we do change, but our proclivities don't change that much. What you're doing when you're 20 is probably going to be something you're interested in doing when you're 40 and 60. Because every person, many of us have similar likings and goals and things, and they overlap, true. But we're all still kind of unique in a way. We like what we like. Some people like this color, some people like that color. So what you're doing at 20 is what you like to do. Kim was riding the carousel at 20. She was a club girl, a club hopper, just like Paris Hilton, who, by the way, Paris Hilton's great-grandfather, who was a great man, who started the Hilton Corporation, the hotel chain, he disowned her. He didn't put her in his will because he thought she was immoral and he thought she was shallow and vapid, materialistic, a prima donna, all these things. He called her out. Paris Hilton's own grandfather or great-grandfather, whatever, who started the Hilton chain. He was on his deathbed. He didn't like her. He took the whole family out of the will. Like 90% of his will he gave to charity. I just read about that. That's Paris Hilton's character. You know, remember when she had her sex tape out and she was all mad because it was getting circulated? It's like, you put it out there, you made it, you agreed to have the video out there. Same with Kim Kardashian. Apparently there was another video that Kanye discovered, and he made it public because he's bipolar, and everything that happens to him he shouts to you know, the paparazzi and the news. The guy is off. He's off his medication, you know. It's like he's off the reservation. Anyway, he needs to take the red pill, and he needs to. My point is that you need to take the red pill as a man. Why? Because the red pill is a foundation. It's a fortifier. It fortifies and it's defensive against these kind of issues. Bottom line, when you know that a 304 is a 304, when you know that these women out here are toxic, jaded, not good for love or marriage, they will hurt you, they will leave you at your lowest point, they don't know what men want, they don't know how to please a man, they don't even know what they want. They chase all the wrong things in a man. They chase men who are egotistical, they chase bad boys, they chase rich guys. These characteristics that do not translate to happy families, do not translate to a normal, adjusted, healthy society, and no one's raising them. And I blame their parents a lot. I really do. I blame the parents, I blame the family, I blame society as a whole that we're allowing this. Now I'll give them some leeway because it's hard, because the devil works hard in media, in television, in music. He works hard to stumble people. He works hard to cause people to sin. He really does. Now I'll give people some leeway, but this is where men, you know, I can't give men as much leeway because as men we need to fortify ourselves. We need to know the truth, and really the truth is in the Bible. The best foundation of the truth is found in the Bible by being equipped with the Bible in our inner being, as a foundation of our inner being. The truth shall set you free. What is the truth? The truth is the Word. The truth is Christ. Christ is the Word. Read John 1:1, right? In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. What's the Word? The Word is the Bible, but the Bible is Christ. The Word is Christ. In the beginning was the Word. In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. That's Jesus. Jesus is the Word. He was in the beginning with God. Jesus is God. Jesus is the truth. The truth is in the Bible, and we need to read the Bible, and we need to go to Jesus himself to be equipped with the truth and with the tools and foundation to really leave the matrix. So I would say that to Kanye, and I would say he's close, at least. You know, he's a Christian, at least. He's a seeker, at least. And maybe this hardship that he's going through with Kim will lead him into something deeper with God, because oftentimes our sufferings lead us into something deeper with God, a deeper relationship, a deeper truth, a deeper experience of God. That's all fine, and I hope it does, because he's a brother, which means he's a dear brother, a dear believer, right? But he made these mistakes. You can't wife up a 304 and expect not to get hurt, and expect it all to be just this rosy picket fence, nice little life, particularly when you have a big ego, particularly when you're kind of a narcissistic, particularly when you're going out there proclaiming that you're a genius, proclaiming that you're so profound, and maybe it got him money, I don't know. But at what cost? You know, many people have billions and millions and billions of dollars, but they don't have basic, genuine love, which is sad, right? And it makes people very unhappy. Excuse me. So, you know, as humans, in a way, it takes a lot to make us happy. But also we need things that money can't buy, right? Relationships, experiences, love, genuine happiness. These are things that money, it's hard to buy, because what money can buy is a kind of temporal happiness, a kind of enjoyment, but it's temporary. Enjoyment is not necessarily synonymous with happiness. Enjoyment is not necessarily synonymous with satisfaction. But I would say God is. God is synonymous with satisfaction. God is synonymous with genuine, deep happiness. And it's a complex thing, and man himself is complicated. Our inner being is complicated. I understand that, Kanye. I get it. Okay? But maybe you'll learn a lesson from this. Hey, I need to take the red pill if you can get out of the way of your own ego. And that's the problem with success. That's a problem with fame. It's a problem with being wealthy and rich, is that your own ego oftentimes sabotages you. And it's like Jesus said in the Gospels, it's harder for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heavens than it is for a camel to enter in through the eye of a needle. Think about that. A camel is gigantic. A camel is like huge. It's as big as a truck, basically. Camels are huge. They're a lot bigger than men, right? And if you look at the eye of a needle, it's very tiny. You can barely see through it. So that must be very difficult for a camel to go through the eye of a needle. See what he's saying? It's hard for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of the heavens. So it's a tough one for Kanye. But I think he's probably got a lot of people praying for him. I think God is in his corner. When you say you love God and you declare you're for God and you claim Christ as king and all these things that Kanye has done, that's pretty significant. Even though it's on a worldly platform, even though it's on a worldly medium, a worldly stage, it's still significant. Okay? So it's not that God doesn't love him. It's not that God has disowned him. It's that it's probably hard for God to get through to Kanye because Kanye is in such a position as he's in. When our ego rules us and our self is taking over, it's hard for God to get through. Because is God the ruler in our being, in our inner being, our intrinsic life, or is God the ruler in our inner being, our intrinsic life? This is a tough one. All Christians must go through this crossroads, so to speak, of dealing with the self and the ego and things like that. And it's very difficult, but it's a part of becoming free. It's a part of becoming closer to God and really leaving the matrix, because the matrix ultimately is this satanic encapsulated, satanic influenced, chaotic world that we live in. Because we still live in this world. We are still on this earth, and it is satanic and it is cursed in many ways, right? So the closer we are to God, the more free we actually are, the more, real we actually are. And I happen to believe that the red pill is a way to know the truth. But ultimately, the Bible and getting closer to Christ as the Word is the ultimate way, in my opinion. So this is where Kanye messed up, is that, and also, hey, we make mistakes. She probably was really good in bed. She's sexy. Kanye liked her personality, and maybe he really loves her. And I understand that a lot of these women can just, me sitting here judging him and, what you did with Kim, I got to be careful myself, because it's, when you're pointing one finger, three are pointing back at you or whatever, right? So we all got to be careful when we judge. And I'm not necessarily trying to judge Kanye, but there's a lot of signs that were obvious with Kim. And I understand, there's a girl who's sweet and she's got sexy lips and she's got these doe eyes, and she's actually, you find out she's actually got a really cool personality, although I never saw it with Kim. I never saw it. That's just me. I watched some of her videos or whatever on her show, and I never saw her being very interesting or cool or very deep. So I don't know what he saw in her, but maybe she was different with him, and I don't know. I don't think so. I think that he just, thought she was sexy, and she was high profile, and a lot of these celebrities go after high profile counterparts because they're high profile. They can't just be dating regular women, because if you think about it, regular women only want them because of their money. So maybe he felt that Kim didn't need his money because Kim was already rich, and this is why these rich, wealthy, high status men end up marrying these rich, wealthy, high status women who are also actors or musicians or whatever, because they feel, she really likes me for me. It's not my money, because all the other girls only want them for the money, because that's part of hypergamy and female nature, which I'm not going to delve too much into, but it's just a bottom line, probably a bottom line general truth, is that the reason why a lot of these guys, these rich, high profile, famous people hook up with these rich, high profile, famous women is because of that. Yeah, it's real. She likes me for my She really likes me for my personality. She really loves me for who I am, because it's not about my money. And with all the other girls who are not rich and famous, it is just about the money. Because I'm Kanye West. It's like, yeah, you can have anybody because they want your money, right? And you got to be careful. And that's a whole, just like Big Papa, Biggie Smalls said, right? Mo money, mo problems, right? Now you got more money, and nobody likes you for who you really are. Everybody wants you for your money. People flatter you, and you don't get anything real. Nothing's real, right? That's a tough one, man. So anyways, guys, I wanted to come back and talk about a couple of those things. Ultimately, just kind of glad to be back. I wrote down a few things that I wanted to talk about in my notes, and I'm going to go back over those and talk about some of those. We'll see. I don't see myself making as much videos as I did in the past, really, because I just talked about everything already, and I'd just be repeating myself, which I found myself doing a lot towards the last couple months. Making my videos before my phone died. So I don't know if I'm going to continue on, how much I'm going to continue on doing this. But I always appreciate you guys liking my videos, and I appreciate you guys saying kind words to me about, how you miss my videos or things like that. And that's always appreciative to me. Again, I don't make any money on this channel, although I think I got a link for a Patreon or PayPal or something if you wanted to shoot me a few bucks. It's not a big deal either way. It's not how I get. Basically I don't make any money from this, so this isn't my cash cow like a lot of people. So this is just me telling the truth. This is me getting things off my chest. This is me, sharing my red pill knowledge and experience and things like that. So I always appreciate you guys listening. I think I'm gonna end it there. Hope you guys stay blessed. Hope you guys stay close to God. Hope you guys are enjoying your life. Like I always advise, to find who you really are, find your niche, if you will, of happiness. Carve out your own little piece of the pie, if you will, in this life, because that's the best we can do besides seeking God. Ultimately, seeking God is the best thing you can do. Seeking God in the church and the truth in the Bible, things like that. But anyway, I'm going to end it there. Hope you guys are well. Appreciate you listening. Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.